How worried should you be about your bank? Today on the Daily Ish Show.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero, ignition, liftoff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Ish Show, a show not just for rental housing providers, but anybody looking to get a little bit more white space on your calendar. It is good to see you. Oh, I'm going crazy. There we go. I'm going rogue. So it's good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today we are talking about how worried should you be about your bank. On the heels of the Silicon Valley Bank failure, the Signature Bank failure, obviously the second and third largest bank failures in history, which again, the bank failures, by the way, are just going to continue to get larger because the banks are getting larger. And obviously net dollars are getting, the dollars are, the dollar figures are getting larger, right? So I don't know how much I would want to be freaked out about that. And yes, it's a big, big deal that these banks failed, not suggesting that it's not. Um, but there's a lot of talk about how worried you should be, or that you might even particularly about your particular bank failing. Now, what does that mean that a bank fails? Basically, that they don't have enough liquidity, they don't have enough funds on hand for people who want to come in to take their money out based on the amount of money that they have loaned out. Totally legal. It's called fractional reserve banking. I will leave you to do your own due diligence on that in terms of what all that means. But, I got a few phone calls from people worried about their particular funds. And these weren't coaching clients of mine. They were people who just knew that I was in banking and kind of knew that I knew a few things. Well, I didn't know their entire financial situation, but I knew they were people that probably didn't have over $250,000 in their bank account. I'll explain why that's important here in a second. But they were wanting to basically take all their money out, what they had, and go buy a bunch of silver and gold and bury it in their yard in case there was a run on their particular bank, which I kind of understand, but they weren't really understanding what risk that really was. The reality is the feds are going to step in and pay you. They're going to insure up to $250,000 per depositor. When I was a kid, I think it was just 100,000. So they've obviously been increasing that money over time. I think it went from 100,000 to 200,000. Then now we're at our current 250,000. And to be honest with you, I had to look it up because I wasn't sure. I knew they had increased it, and actually I was surprised to see it was at 250,000. So this is cumulative, by the way. So all the savings accounts, the checking accounts, basically the money market accounts, all of that is combined to the $250,000 limit. Okay. Now that I also believe that is an at least amount. So from what I understand, if there's more left over, they may actually be able to step up if that's the case. I don't believe that to be the case. I've seen it said at least, but I know that I know that $250,000. I don't think there's anybody that's going to get any more than that. Okay. Keep in mind, this is also going to apply to different corporate entities. So from what I understand, if you are holding money personally and you're holding money in an LLC, each one is treated separately as a corporate citizen. Each one per EIN or per tax identification number is going to get that $250,000 insurance amount. Trusts are treated a little bit separately. They might get actually a little bit more, but again, I will leave you to do your own due diligence. Go to the FDIC website. You can get all the information you want from there. But here's the thing that it might specifically apply to you, for those of you who are watching this who are in the real estate business, and you're wondering, well, holy crap, what happens if? Well, let's talk about that. Especially for those of you who are property managers. You may not like what you're about to hear. Security deposit accounts are probably going to be considered separate money, meaning that it's all going to be accounted for under that $250,000 aggregate. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not. I wouldn't count on the fact that they're going to say, well, it's trust money or it's separate money, or unless it's specifically held in a trust account. Here's the reality. Let's say you're a property manager who has an operating budget of, say, $150,000 a month running in and running out, right? So you have $150,000 in rent receipts. That's not a really big property management company, by the way. So that may include a lot of property management companies who are watching this show. Let's say you have an operating account of $150,000 and a security deposit account of $200,000. You might end up on the hook for the $100,000 shortfall that ends up missing because the combined amount will be over in excess of $250,000. You might want to consider holding that security deposit account in a separate bank if it's going to put you over the $250,000 aggregate. Just saying, you don't want to take the chance of being on the hook for it, right? So, another question you might want to consider is how long is it going to take to get your money? Well, generally, it's a couple of days, which means that it's always a good idea to keep your money in separate accounts, in separate banks, just in case the world goes to crap. So, if you did have to turn money over, it might take a couple of days for that to get worked out. Fortunately, the feds are pretty good about this. They're able to, from what I understand, they're going to open up another account in a separate financial institution. They're going to get your account funded and you'll be able to move on your way. So, again, good idea to know what's going to happen in advance. So, the question is, should I move my money into alternative assets? Look, this will be the last point I'm going to make, and we're going to wrap this video up. Diversification is always a good way to spread your risk. But if you're rushing into an asset class like silver, like gold, like crypto, you're chasing after the same money and just driving up demand, and therefore doing what? You're driving up the price. So if you're going to diversify, do it when the demand is low. Don't do it like a knee-jerk reaction. Don't, make sure you're treating it like any other investment. Look at the fundamentals and don't rush into something that's based on emotion. Look what's going on with the silver price right now. Silver is spiking. Gold is spiking. Gold is over $2,000 an ounce as of when I checked yesterday. And it hasn't been over $2,000 an ounce for a minute. It's been a few months. So now all of a sudden it spikes up, and that's all that demand. It's all demand driven that's driving up that price. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to diversify, treat it like any other investment. And that's all I have for today, folks. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. And remember, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.